Hi, this is Katie from Forget Me Not Studios, and I am so excited to show you what I have been working on for weeks. I have been problem solving how to foil using just about any stamp that you have in your collection. And I am so excited because I got it all figured out, and this was the key, the Mink machine. But let me walk you through what I figured out. So the first thing that you need to know about foiling is that there are two types of foiling on the market. One is called toner foil, and it needs something to stick to when you're foiling. The other foil is called hot foil, and it has a built-in adhesive to the foil already, so it needs something hot, but it doesn't need something tacky or sticky to stick to. Let me show you some examples of foil, of the different kinds of foil. This is my foiling box. All of these, except this one, all of these are spell binders, and these are examples of hot foil. They come in little boxes that look like this. And these can be used with the Glimmer machine or the Gemini foil press, but they need heat. The other kind of foil, the toner foil, I've got some examples here. These fab foils, Deco, these fab foils, these Deco foils, Heidi Swap Mink foils, and oh, here's another example of Deco foil. These do not have adhesive built into it, and so they need something sticky or tacky to stick to. Some examples of what it can stick to. This Transfer Gel Duo you can use with like stencils, and the toner foil will stick to it. The other thing there's two other things I'm aware of that the toner foil will stick to, and that is, where did they go? Here's some examples. They actually stick to toner, like toner that you get in a laser printer, but not an inkjet printer, a laser printer. And it uses, see this black? It's actually like, it's toner, and the foil will stick to the toner after you run it through the machine. And then the other thing that it can stick to is embossing powder. And I'll show you a couple examples of the embossing powder. And you use it just exactly the same way you use embossing powder. You put it on, you heat it up, and then you run it through the machine, and the foil sticks to it. And then this is liquid toner, and it comes from the Heidi Swap Mink stamping kit, and you can put this on your stamps, and the foil will stick to it. Okay, let me show you some examples of some bad examples. First of all, mistakes that I made while I was trying to figure this out. So the first thing is that I was not using the correct foil. As you can see, this is called overfoiling. All of this extra foil is because I was using the spell binders, which requires heat. It has adhesive built into the foil already, and so that's why you get the over foiling. This is another example. This one wasn't quite as bad because I used it on a lower heat setting. And then this is an example of using the toner, which actually was turning out quite a bit better. I got to the point where I was using the correct kind of foil, but as you can see, the toner I had a blob of toner on there, and when it went through the machine, it squished it. So when you're using this toner, you got to be careful to not let the toner pool up like that. Okay, the other thing that I want to tell you that made all the difference in the world was getting the Heidi Swapp ink machine. It's quite a bit pricier, a little bit pricier, but it made all the difference in the world. I had been using this, which is just a regular run-of-the-mill, oh, I just had a brain fart. This is just a run-of-the-mill laminator, and I was not getting good results with this. It just was not heating up enough. However, when I was doing a lot of YouTube searches, some people were getting fine results with this. You gotta let it heat up for a long time, 15-20 minutes. Jennifer McGuire made a video where she used the embossing powder and just her laminator, and she got fantastic results. It was like magic, but this one was not working for me. There are some other laminators on the market that people are recommending that they were getting good results from, but this is the laminator that I had, and I just was not getting great results with it. Then I dropped the thing and it completely stopped working. And so I decided, instead of buying another laminator, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy the ink machine, and man, did it make everything so much better. So let me show you after I got the ink machine. This is what it ended up looking like. So this is an example. This one here is an example of using the liquid toner, and this is an example of using the embossing powder. As you can see, the results look different. This one is a lot more detailed, and you get finer lines. But this one, the foil is really pretty on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I created these two different images, and then we'll make a card together. Okay. Let me get all of this stuff out of the way. And again, because I'm using something sticky, I want to show you how you can just use any old regular stamp that you have in your collection. So it's going to need something to stick to. So I'm going to be using the toner foils, because it's going to be sticking to an adhesive. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to use the embossing powder. I have this stamp set from Altenew, Lush Garden. I love the stamp set. The floral images are so pretty. So I'm going to use this outline stamp set, or this outline stamp. So first we're going to use embossing powder, make an example out of the embossing powder. I'll show you that first. So I'm going to lay the stamp right in there, and grab your Versamark or whatever Watermark ink pad you have, and we're just going to ink this up. And first, we're going to use a little bit of this powder. And transfer the ink onto the paper. And you can't really see it on here. I'm not sure you'll be able to see that, but the Watermark ink, the sticky ink, did transfer over. So we're gonna pour some embossing powder on this. And I like to use, I know some people use coffee filters for this. I just use a folded piece of paper. I'm gonna pour this embossing powder over the image. Great, that is a great image. I'm not sure if you can see that before I melt it, but the embossing powder turned out real good. We're gonna heat set this and then run it through the ink machine with the toner foil. So you're just going to use your heat gun until you see that the embossing powder is melting onto the paper. I'm not sure if you can see this, but it sort of goes from a powdered look to a shiny look as you heat set it. Okay, that looks all good and melted. So I'm going to use some of this foil transfer sheet, this Deco foil. And all of these foils, they come in so many different pretty colors. You can get, geez, just about every color under the sun. And different companies make different colors of foil. I got these from Says Stamp. Okay. And when you're foiling, you want to cut, where did I put my scissors? You want to cut the foil down so that it's just a little bit larger than your image. I'm going to go ahead and cut this foil. Geez, these scissors not doing a fantastic job. Okay. Now because I used this powder, I'm going to want to make sure to get any of the residue off because the foil will stick to it. So just use a brush and get any of that residue off. And then we're going to run it through the ink machine. The ink comes with this plastic folder. I'm just going to slide it in there and run it through. Now the nice thing about the ink machine is it literally takes like 30 seconds to heat up, which is fantastic. And it's got all of these different levels of heat. So you can use this to foil on vellum. You can use this to foil on any kind of cardstock that you might have. And the instructions come with examples for what heat setting to use to foil on different objects. unlike using a regular laminator that really only comes typically with two settings, the 3mm and the 5mm, obviously with the ink machine, you get more heat setting options. Okay, we're gonna let it cool down just a little bit. And here is the reveal. And I got pretty good results with that, I think. Now the interesting thing, the reason why you're getting a thicker thicker lines on the foil is because what actually happens is the embossing powder heats up and remelts when you run it through the ink, and it sort of squishes the embossing powder as it's heating up, and the pressure of the rollers on the machine sort of squishes it, and the foil sticks to it, the squished embossing powder, and so you end up with these thicker lines. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do the same thing but with the liquid toner. So I'll link everything underneath this video, all the different tools that I used, but this comes out of the liquid toner you can get from the Heidi Swap Mink stamping kit, and it comes just in a little bottle about this size, but I actually got these bottles off of Amazon, and I'll link that below the video, but it comes with this squishy tip, and that's going to allow me to put the toner ink onto the stamp. So you just take the toner and you're just going to lightly put the ink all over the stamp. Now, surprisingly, this toner ink is actually a really pretty sticky substance, which is what the foil is going to stick to. And you don't want to try not to let the toner ink pool up too much in the stamp or on the stamp. That example I showed you where the toner pooled up a lot and it got squished when I was adding the foil to it. So you want to just tap the toner all over the stamp. And you might have to do this a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, to get a good transfer. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, and again, this is really sticky. So I'm not going to press real hard. I'm just going to press lightly and then lift up and see how sticky it is. The paper sticks to it. I want to be really careful when you pull that off so that the paper doesn't tear. It's sticky enough to actually rip the paper if you're not careful. Hopefully you can see this. See, I got a pretty good transfer of the toner on here, but there's some spots in here where it didn't quite transfer well enough. So like I said, this might take 2 or 3 times to get a good image. Now again, this is the toner, and if you have a laser printer that uses toner, you can go on onto the computer, onto the internet, and print out any image, and the foil will actually stick to what you print out from your printer. But that won't work for an inkjet printer because it doesn't use toner. And you know, of course, Jennifer McGuire has a fantastic video showing how she used her toner printer to print out an image. Got a little bit of double stamping lines there, but I think it'll turn out okay. I'm gonna go ahead and cut another piece of this foil. And we're gonna run this through. Oops, got a little. Sticking out. You wanna make sure all of the toner ink is covered with your foil. All right, we're gonna cool this off and pull the foil off. And that's pretty good. There's one little spot there that didn't turn out fantastic, but overall it's not too bad. Okay. So we're going to use this to create a card. I'm going to pull this off. Oh, the other thing you should know about this toner is it does, the toner, liquid toner, it does come off the stamp. You just want to run it under some soapy water and all of this liquid toner will come right off. It does not ruin your stamps. It's pretty goopy looking and a very sticky substance, but it will come off your stamps, so you don't have to worry about ruining your stamps. So this, I used masking paper and I stamped the image, and we're gonna peel the backing off here. So it's got a little bit of a tack to the back. It's a little bit sticky. I'm gonna cover this flower, and then I'm gonna use a couple of leaves. So I took a little production break, but I'm back to show you how I put this card together. First, I added the mask back onto the main flower, and I'm going to go ahead and ink up the leaves using the liquid toner. And remember to just lightly press the liquid toner onto the stamp, because you don't want it to blob up and pool and end up creating a huge blob. I've gone ahead and inked up all 3 of the leaves with the liquid toner, and I'm cutting the foil down just slightly larger than the space that you want to foil. It is possible to remove the foil if you get it in areas that you don't want it. Just take a mono eraser and scrape it off. But it helps just to cut the foil down so it just covers the toner ink. Then I'm going to go ahead and run the card front through the ink machine, and we'll see what the final foil looks like. Go ahead and cool the card down a little bit. I just shake it real quick a couple of times and peel the foil off for the final reveal. And I think it turned out really pretty. I'm going to use the Altenew Lush Garden stamp set with the next stamp that has the most coverage. And I'm going to ink it up using Altenew Crisp Dye Rouge Ink. It's a light pink coral color. It's really pretty, a very soft color. I'm going to ink the flower up twice just to make sure I get good coverage. And I'll show you, look at how pretty this turned out. That soft rose peach color, coral color. I think it's just beautiful in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull out the inside stamps for the leaves that have the most coverage. I'm going to add the mask back over the flower. And I'm going to stamp the leaves using Rouge Crisp Dye Mountain Mist ink. It's a real pale green color, sort of like a mint color. It's going to be just beautiful with this rogue color. And again, I'm going to stamp the leaves twice using the mountain mist so that I get good coverage with the color. And we're going to peel the mask off for the final result. I think the soft ink colors really enhance the foil, the beautiful foil. I think the colors are just lovely. And that foil is so shiny and pretty. I'm going to use Gina K Master Layouts 2, rectangle with a stitched border. And I'm cutting out the flower and making it smaller. And we'll add that to a white card base. I'm using Altenew Craft Your Life Magnolia Blooms for the sentiment. I love this sentiment. It says, "Let your light shine through." We're going to emboss this. Right now I'm just lining up the sentiment using a T ruler so that it's good and straight. Then we're going to use the Versamark Watermark ink. To heat emboss the sentiment onto the card. I'm using Gina K Rose Gold Embossing Powder. It's a very pretty pink color, and I think it'll match nicely with the pink of the flower. I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss this. And then I'm going to add some dimensional foam tape to the back of the card front and adhere it to the card base. And here's the final result. I think the card turned out beautiful. I want to thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would mean a lot to me if you come back and watch more videos in the future.